I feel like it's a threat to our rights. Well, anyways, so what I'm scared of is there like even if it just says, oh, if we commit illegal activities, we should then we're subversive. But you know they can. The government's been swaying definitions for a while now. Like the Constitution was saying we need probable cause, and yet it's going over to reasonable suspicion. So our government's been swaying away our constitutional rights. Swaying the definition. Sway. That's what our government's been doing. They've been swaying our constitutional rights away. So they could use this act to go after people who advocate the overthrowing or altering of our government. So if Obama plans to turn our country into communism, or if they plan to abolish our constitution, we could go to prison because because without a constitution, there's nothing to protect us. We could go to prison for 10 years for simply speaking out of our government's activities. I don't think this is all right. I think this is all wrong what they're trying to pull. Now, people think, oh, they're making Al Qaeda do paperwork. Now, excuse me, there's a difference between a revolutionary and a terrorist. A terrorist likes to kill innocent people, get revenge on governments and countries. A terrorist likes to spread fear and violence and threats and all sorts of other stuff to get what they want for their agendas. That is a terrorist. Now, a revolutionary is somebody who believes in changing our country's policies. They don't agree with the policies, and so revolution means they want to change it. They want to change our government so it fits the needs of the people, so that it fits the needs of all the people. Because I know there's minority groups that may have disagreements, but when you have rights, what do you need to disagree with? When you have a lot of rights, people could simply have the right to agree or disagree. We have the rights to do what we want without like like as long as we're not hurting anybody, like as long as we're not physically hurting anybody or hurting their property, we pretty much have a right to do whatever we want. And as long as we don't obstruct the system and obstruct justice. But the thing is, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to give people a 10-year prison sentence and a $25,000 fine if they fail to register with Hillary Rodham Clinton, the Secretary of State. So free speech and dissent is being criminalized in America. I don't like this. I don't like what's going on right now. I mean, another country that's had laws against subversion. Now here they're not making it illegal, but they're making us register with the government. That's the start. Because with the Jews, they said first they had to register the Jews. All the Jews had to be registered by the Office of Race Politics. Then they started making them wear stars. They had to pay for them. The Jews had to wear Jew stars. They had to wear stars to identify that those were Jews. I believe now they're not going to do that. They're probably going to do RIFD chips so they can scan if we're a certain type of person. So the government can identify us. Then, after the Jew star, then they started the policy of racial cleansing. That's when they started killing the Jews under the guise that it will make the human race better. Now, what if Obama were to do such a thing? Because the same state that makes subversion or overthrowing the government illegal, the same state that's doing this is the one with that crazy lieutenant governor. I think his name was Andre. He's actually saying that given welfare to those who need it are begging for table scraps, that they're stray animals. I know a lot of people don't. I know there's a certain amount of people that doesn't agree with welfare. Well, I won't say a lot, but there's a certain amount that thinks that that's using up people's tax dollars. But a lot of people, a lot of families paid into the system. So if they didn't need that money, I do believe that disabled people have a right to Social Security because, well, technically they did pay for it. They did pay for the service. I mean, they kept paying into it, and then they got money that they needed for their health problems. Like, say if they got disabled and they couldn't go out and work, I believe that they aren't using other people's money. To a certain extent, they're actually using their own tax dollars that paid into the system. But anyways, well, regardless of what your beliefs are on that, he's relating people in the welfare system to stray animals. When you start having talk like that, you almost wonder if we're heading right back into the T4 euthanasia program by Adolf Hitler. And it almost makes me wonder if we're heading into a dictatorship. That that the thing is, Obama is a Democrat, and this guy that advocated that was in South Carolina. He was a Republican. I think they're all together. I think Republicans and Democrats are all the same. It's all one system of people that are corrupt. I think Democrats and Republicans are both corrupt. But I think that if he's actually catering to the federal government, the South Carolinians, then this means we're heading to. This may mean that if this could be Obama's views being passed on to him, if he is the next Hitler, he's going to start killing people. In order to do that, one, you have to take away all their guns. Two, you have to take away our legal rights to succession. Three, like, yeah, because they said, well, wait, before I go to three, anyways, I read about during the times of when the whole Confederacy, all that stuff, they actually said the reason we had that, although I don't agree with them being for slavery. I think slavery is wrong. It goes against the Declaration of Independence, but they said that back then the states didn't have the right to succeed because, the federal government denied the rights to succession. That was a long time ago, so what if now states were to succeed? I'm sure the federal government will not allow their rights to succession. So they're taking away states' rights to succession. And now three is, I believe that now I'm seeing that they're taking away our rights to even teach or even advise that the United States government should be overthrown, controlled, or altered. So technically what it's saying is that if we want the government to be altered, we're a subversive. If that's happening, they're taking away our rights to demand change. And I thought Obama was change that we believe in. But it sounds like the South Carolina governor is taking away our rights to succeed. And this isn't good, what's happening. Sorry, I think I had some popcorn. But anyways, the other country that has laws against subversion, is China. That's what really got to me. I found out that another country that has laws against subversion, like more than just regulations, they actually forbid it. It's China. And China has successfully controlled their people. Because I noticed that with China, people hardly have any rights there. And anytime you try to protest, the police go after you or the military. I just think it's crazy that we're becoming like communism. Because China also has laws against subversion. So it looks like if we're doing the same thing as China, we're going to become like China. I don't agree with this. I think it's bad. I think if they do this, this isn't good. This is not good at all. We're going to become like China. So that means that we can't overthrow the socialist system. So since Obama is socialist and the China is a socialist system or communist, the United States is starting a trend where you have to register or get permission from the government before you have a subversion group. And China already has something against that. So we are becoming like China. Now, people of South Carolina, before I go, I think you need to fight. I think you need to go to the Capitol and protest. You need to protest, do a massive protest to let the government know that you don't want a subversion law. A law that forbids our rights to want to talk about like overthrowing or altering the government. Because according to the Declaration of Independence, it is our right that when a government's corrupt, we have a right to overthrow it or alter it. Now, this is forbidding us from doing it. The Subversive Activities Registration Act forbids us from thinking the government's corrupt. Because if people think the government's corrupt, they want to overthrow it or alter it. So technically, are they going to arrest us for that? If you're in South Carolina, you need to go out there and protest this bill. You need SC Code of Laws, Title 23, Chapter 29. You must demand that this bill gets stopped. The Subversive Activities Registration Act. Because if you don't, and there's starting a growing trend of these laws, our rights to overthrow a corrupt Germany-like government, like during the Nazi times, may become impossible. And our rights to peacefully stop political corruption may end.